Welcome everyone. Good to be back. Yeah, I just feel very excited about the topic for today because I think that a lot of the time we can get a bit disheartened on the journey and we think that it's going to be difficult to wake up, and then we've got to prepare ourselves to wake up. And it seems like there's so many obstacles in the way to awakening. And yeah, there are obstacles. Yeah, we're not here to deny what is there, but equally we need to share what is joyful as well. We need to share the truth. And no preparation is going to get you ready for this journey because there is no process. Because how can you be in a process when you've already done it? So the thing is we just play all these games and these tricks with ourselves, and you are putting all of these obstacles in your way of being who you are. It's that simple. You're doing it to yourself. And now when we go on the spiritual journey, all of a sudden we have all these blocks that seemingly come up, and now we make them true, we make them real, and now we've got to somehow make our way through the maze of the mind. But yet the journey's already over. It's like the ego has to do something. And when you believe you're an ego, it seems like it's a journey. And it's going to go with you all the way, and it's going to fight all the way with you until the end. Not because it has to be, it's because you want it to be. You want it to be a fight, you want it to be difficult, you want it to be hard. That's what you're actually asking for inside. Because everything that comes to you, you have asked for. It's that simple. And that's why we can dispel it, because we're doing it to ourselves. Because there's actually nothing to blame, including yourself. So that's the beautiful thing about this whole experience. And so for me, I've just been becoming more firm in my mind, really. It's like that strength wants to come through. That strength is here now. That strength is within you. And so when we come together, we are remembering that true strength. We are remembering that light is within you. It is directly here and now. And nothing can dispel that. Nothing whatsoever. Other than your thoughts, which are unreal. And so what I've been thinking about is, like, we just create this delay in our own minds that somehow if I don't know, if I've worked on myself a bit more, then I'm going to be further along and all of these things, and it's just completely and utterly untrue. And if you've had mystical experiences, then you'll know that really there was nothing that you did to have that experience. It just naturally comes when you're open enough, and you don't even know exactly how it happened. It just happens. It just comes to you. The universe bows to you and gives you a new experience of yourself. And you're like, wow, this is amazing. Oh my God, what I thought was reality, what I thought was solid, is now not completely and utterly solid. And then for the rest of the time, when you're out of that experience, you're trying to figure out what the journey is, which is a complete and utter waste of time, because the ego is never going to figure out what the journey is. because it's always here. It's always right underneath our nose. And so I think that's the whole point, that the awakening is in the future. And so it's all about this time thing that just wraps us up in our own minds. And it's like, today it's time to dispel that. And what I've been thinking about is that every moment is my awakening. There is no moment separate from that. That is, the universe is completely and utterly ready for me. It's there, it's waiting for me. And even that's what's stated in the Course in Miracles. Jesus states that in the Course in Miracles. He says it's not your readiness that is needed. It is my readiness, and I am ready for you now. So this isn't about you preparing yourself for something. It's that you are going to give yourself over. You're going to stop actually wanting to be you. You're going to stop wanting this dualistic world, this dualistic way of thinking that there's something outside to be overcome. And once you choose the true direction, then it's absolutely over. So that can be in any instant, any moment. That's why he says it's the holy instant, isn't it? It's just one moment and it is over. But yet we choose to trawl along in our own nonsense, in our own duality. And that is so disheartening. And often in the days we forget the joy, we forget the pleasure, because it feels like there's so much coming up, seemingly coming up. But of course you are generating that. You are generating the crap all of the time. And that is a complete and utter addiction. That's the addiction. Addiction to your own nonsense. And that's exactly what's stopping you from being the light. And so really and truthfully, what we forget is there's, like, on the journey, on the seeming journey, is that why don't we look at it in a favourable way? Why don't we look at it in a joyful way? That every single moment is an unfolding into an adventure into the mind. That it is a beautiful, beautiful moment that is waiting for you to unravel, to reveal itself to you. That's what every single moment is. There's nothing else really, really going on. We can choose to be in the ego, and we can choose to be in this healing cycle, but equally there's equally another choice. And every moment where we want to be so present with what's happening around us, with the excitement of waking up and being like, wow, today's the day that I wake up. You know, that's how really we should wake up every morning, in that enthusiasm. And so really that's what we do together. That's what we come together on, this, is to build the enthusiasm together, to be like, okay, you know. And often I talk about the world I see holds nothing that I want, and a lot of times it can feel depressing. This can feel like, oh God, and it feels like a sacrifice, because you believe in these things so deeply. You believe in this world, and it's sustaining you, and all its things are sustaining you. And when we're telling you, or I'm telling you, the world you see holds nothing that you want, it's like, oh wow, I do like some of these things. And it's like, yeah, we're not really holding ourselves there. There's something much greater. There's something much greater going on. There is a bigger picture going on that is not seen. It's like you believe in what you see, but you don't believe in what you don't see. And it's like, as David was sharing last night, like, in truth, what we've made up is the unseen. The world is the unseen. And you've forgotten what the seen is, which is the light, which is the pure light in your mind. So what you're seeing, as Jesus says, is an illusion, is a fantasy of yourself. You're just consistently looking at fantasies, and believing them to be true. And then it's like a child, isn't it? It's like if a child, he says, has a knife in its hand, and you take, and it's all shiny, isn't it, the knife, and then you take the knife from the child and the child starts crying, believing that it's taken away its toy, it's taken away something from there. But really the adult was taking it away because it was a sharp object and it could injure the child. So it was more important to take away what was not helpful. And that's the same as the journey. That's why it's seen as a sacrifice. It's like, our silver knife is being taken away, and then we sit there and we cry, and oh my God, it's such a sacrifice. I haven't got a relationship, I haven't got this, I haven't got money, I haven't got all these things of the world that are supposed to sustain me. And because you're believing that that is sustaining you other than the love of God, then when it's taken away from you, you just feel like, oh, I'm nothing, oh, it hurts me, oh, this is so terrible. And it's like, well, actually, the belief in food, the belief in money, the belief in a relationship is the very thing that is actually hurting you. And that's why it's been taken away, because it's a complete and utter illusion that anything is going to sustain you. And, you know, in actual fact, David just done a talk today on the dreamer of the dream. And I wasn't able to watch all of it, but I saw some of it. And it's like, there is no love here. You are the love. And you're looking for this love. That's really all this is you're looking for this love outside of yourself. And each time you seemingly get closer to something which you perceive to be love, you find out that it's not love, and then you feel like it's a sacrifice. And Jesus says, well, you keep looking in the wrong places, you're going to keep getting the same results, aren't you? The same result's going to come up over and over and over again. And that's all we're doing until we've had enough of it. And that's why I'm kind of cutting through the nonsense and just saying, the world you see holds nothing that you want. There is no love here. Full stop. That's what the Course in Miracles is teaching you. It's the bottom line. There is no love here. There is no love in this world whatsoever. You are the love. And you have to believe that. And the only thing that is lacking, because you don't believe that you can awaken to that. It's like, oh, I'm not worthy of that love, so I'm gonna try and substitute the world for it. But all along that keeps hurting me. That keeps disrupting my peace, my joy, my happiness, because it's not there. It's like we're driving down a dead-end road. We keep going around the block and driving down the dead-end road, and we can't stop doing it. And each time you're saying, God, I really want to get out of this, but you just continue to drive down the dead-end road. And where's it going? Nowhere. It's going absolutely nowhere. And so that's why it just becomes disheartening. That's why it's believed to be a sacrifice. That's why it seems like it's a sacrifice. But you're sacrificing the dead-end road. So if I told you your journey at the moment is just going down a dead-end road, you would tell me, well, why would I do that? I said, well, exactly, yeah. Why would you do that? You say, well, I want to actually go in the right direction. Yeah, exactly. That's within you, and that you are the love. And you don't have to look outside of yourself any longer, because looking outside is the dead-end road. Oh, wow, that's perfect. Well, thank you so much for that. Nothing else is going to sustain you. Wow, that's really, really good to know. And that's why that's what Lesson 50 says. It's the only lesson that you need. I am sustained by the love of God. And that's it. There's nothing else. There's nothing else going on whatsoever. You are sustained by the universe, by the ultimate reality. It's completely and utterly sustaining you. But yet we want to still continue on with our story. We want to still continue on with this life. And the Course teaches there is no life. You have no life here. You've never had a life. It's completely and utterly fictitious. It's made up in your own mind. So, how I'm looking at it is, well, that's really, really great to know. I really want that. I want to know that. I want to be sustained by the love of God. And what I see in this seeming journey, I keep using that word, hilarious, that the enthusiasm goes up and then the enthusiasm starts to wane and it starts to go down. And then that's when all the projections start, that's when everything starts going on. And it can be so hard to muster up that courage to, okay, I am sustained by the love of God. It just, like when you say those words, you just think, okay, whatever. It just doesn't even mean anything any longer to you because you're disheartened. That's why I'm here. I'm here to encourage myself. I need all the encouragement I can get. So I encourage myself. That's the reason why I do this. So I'm encouraging myself to say, yes, I am waking up every morning and I am saying, today is the day of my awakening. Today is the day of my revelation. Today is the day of miracles. And I am going to expect the unexpected. On every corner, on every moment, this is my moment. This is the moment. This is the holy moment. And it is given to me by God to say, you're it. You are the one. You are everything. And it wants to open up to me in a beautiful, beautiful way. And it brings everything possible to me. All of the relationships around you are to wake you up to see the truth. And the ego is there to see the guilt. And guilt dampens the light. It's kind of pretty simple. Yeah, it's that simple. And we're just looking at these things that block us in our minds to love's presence. And it's so funny. I had this beautiful forgiveness. It's from a past experience. I used to do judo, and I was very good. I got a black belt. I won 3 gold medals, and you know, it was my thing. it was my thing, and you know, 3 years in a row unbeaten. Actually, it was 4 years. Actually, I'd never lost in competition over God knows how many matches, and so yeah, it was very natural to me to do. I loved the discipline. I loved the devotion of judo. I loved the spiritual aspect of it. We would all bow to one another, bow to our instructors. It was really, really helpful for me, particularly as being, I would say, as a rebellious character. It actually gave me quite a bit of stability as a child, and it was completely and utterly natural to me. It wasn't really that I was learning it, and of course I was probably just remembering what I already knew. So it was a very, very natural thing. I felt very comfortable in that environment. And I took to it as a duck to water. And, you know, even when I was a low grade, it was quite easy for me to beat higher grades. Sometimes I was told that I had to tone it down with the higher grades because I was making them look, embarrassing them. And it was not respectful to do that. So there was this seeming talent, this talent that I had, and it was everything to me. And I had all my Bruce Lee posters up, and and this is how I started praying. I would pray to Bruce Lee as a child, please let me win this competition. That was most of the prayers. But I would look up to him, and now I see, you know, there was someone who was completely and utterly dedicated. That he was a philosopher, he was into spirituality, and he was into martial arts, and he was a great role model for devotion, dedication, inspiration. You know, he took it to the max. He took it to the absolute max, and they did everything to the best of his ability, and gave everything to it. And so he was my very, very first role model, and I just couldn't get enough of him, you know, watching all the movies and everything like that, and the way he moved, and yeah, it's just that pure focus, that oneness, and it was like, one day I'm going to be like him. And so when I went to judo, you know, now I'm seeing it, that I love that presence, that somehow through the interaction, because it's like dancing really, you know, it's exactly the same thing really. You have a partner, and this way you're throwing people on the floor. A little bit different thing, but there's a rhythm, there's a dance going on between you, and it's a beautiful dance actually, and it's a connection, and particularly when you're training, and you know you're learning your skills with your partner, and it's a wonderful thing, and particularly as there's a lot of as I said, respect for one another. Everyone respects each other in the dojo. Very, very important part of your understanding in being a good judoka, which is a student of judo. And so I was really into it. I was really fired up. But I had this one instant, and it was in the fourth year of competitions, once I built up to be able to compete. So the first 3 years I won 3 gold medals in a row, undefeated. And then in the fourth year, I fought a white belt in the first round. I was a black belt by now. And in the first round, I got drawn against a white belt. So I thought it was easy, but I never took anything. I never took anyone lightly. When I got onto the mat, it was like I'm looking at them and saying, "This is game over for you, mate. I don't care what belt you are. I'm going all guns blazing." And so it was pretty rapid that I that I took him down, and I was holding him down. And you have to hold the person down for 30 seconds. And I don't know how this happened, but somehow he got out of the move, and where I was trying to hold him down, he didn't. I pulled all the muscles in my shoulder, and through the adrenaline, it was fine. But so we carried on, and I beat him. So that was that. And then obviously once I come off the mat, I realised that my shoulder was hurting me, and so I was like, oh my God, this isn't looking very good. But I was like, no, I'm going to carry on. And I managed to get to the so I carried on with this bad shoulder, and I managed to get. I got to the semi-final. I got to the semi-final, but I couldn't carry on. My shoulder had completely seized up, and it was just, yeah, I just couldn't even hold on any longer. So I had to basically retire from the tournament, and so I was completely and utterly devastated. And I never ever talk about this, and because I got to the semi-final, I actually got the bronze medal. But I never ever used to want to share that. I was like, bronze is nothing. I'm not interested in that. That means nothing to me. So yeah, that was like the devastation of that, but I still hadn't lost. So then the next year, year 5, oh God, now this is where my shame comes in. Is what happened was I got put into I would have either, they could have put me in the group underneath the weight category, because I was like the only one at this certain weight, and so it was either go into the next weight up, or put me in the weight below, which I'd have obviously been the heaviest, one of the heaviest. But instead they chose to put me in the weight category above. So I was now fighting with the heavier category, and so I was the lightest in that category now. So there was a little bit stacked up against me, but that wasn't a problem. And so in the very first round, I get drawn against another black belt, and I'd never been in a competition with him or anything like that. But I knew who he was. So I was completely and utterly fired up for it. So it's the first round. I'm ready to go. And normally I would steam in. I just steam in on the person and just make them feel very, very uncomfortable. I'm just taking the show, and that is not good That's not a good tactic if you're fighting someone who's very experienced, because they will use the momentum against you. But it was my way of intimidating, and it worked for 4.5 years. So, and I wanted, you know, for him to know that I am the boss here. So anyway, my instructor comes up to me just before I'm about to go in the mat, and so he knows what I normally get up to, and he says, "Listen to me, do not run in, don't run in." He said, play it more cool, but don't run in, he tells me. But I am too fired up. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm just focused on this boy. So our names get called out. Okay, here we go, I'm ready to go. So what do? I get on the mat. And this has been a complete, you know, one of them things in my mind. Why the hell did I do this? So we're just completely and utterly fired up. We both bowed to one another. I'm just looking him straight in the eyes thinking, this is game over for you. And what do? I run straight at him. And what does he do? He throws me straight over his shoulder, and we call it an hip-on, which means both my shoulders have touched the floor, and it's game over for me. He's just won the match in like 5 seconds. I've been knocked out in the first round as a black belt against another black belt, and it was game over for me. That's it, my competition over. And now I've got to sit there throughout the whole competition. So of course, throughout most of my life, often this scenario I might be having a good day, and then it's like this scenario comes in. And we all have these scenarios in our lives, don't we? Why on earth did I run in? And it's like thinking like that, thinking like I could change something. It's always that, isn't it? That something could have been changed. It's like change to the script, that was so important. And so I've always thought about that. And I thought, why did I run in? If I hadn't have run in, then I would have been, you know, it would have been now even. We'd have been in there. I knew he was good, so I knew it was going to be a good battle. And you know, now the odds would have been even. Why didn't I listen to my instructor? Really, I should have been listening to my instructor, you know. So of course, there's so many benefacting things to this that I got too carried away. I just was like, I'm just going to kill him. I'm just going to take him out. And there you go. He took me out. Fair play to him, you know. And so all of my life, this sort of flashes into my mind. Why did I run in? You know, all that shame, all that embarrassment when the whole place erupts and everybody's cheering. And this time, they're not cheering for me. They're cheering because I got beat. And that was also part of it for me, because where I'd won so many times, a lot of the clubs wanted to beat me. The people wanted to beat me because, you know, for 4.5 years, I was the one to be beaten. So I took great privilege in dismantling these other ones from all the other clubs. And now, first round, I'm out. And I'm so glad that I can laugh about it. This has actually only got healed the other day. So, God alive, I don't know how old I was. I was probably about 15 or so. We're talking years ago, probably. So yeah, I was about 15 years old when all of this happened. And as I've shared, why on earth did I not run in? And then it came to me the other day, and I thought, okay, I've got to stop this. Why didn't I do something different? Like what happened was what happened. But of course, we want to know why, don't we? We're like, why? Why was I so stupid? Why was I so foolish? Why didn't I listen? Why didn't I, you know, in my heart, I actually knew that was right. You know, I wasn't stupid. But it was just like, I just wanted to do my own thing, really. That's what got me into all the trouble. You know, the Holy Spirit came in, well, you could say the Holy Spirit came in under my instructor. But in a way, what I saw, and this is what the guidance came in, and it said, no, you had to lose that battle. And I was like, but why? But why? And he said, because that wasn't your journey any longer to go along the road of judo, to go along the road of fighting, and that I needed you for this. And so I know that you were very, very good at it, but that wasn't the way that your journey was going to play out. And so that's why it had to end earlier this time around. So it was actually really, really perfect. And that judo was a beautiful, beautiful thing to build up courage, to build up devotion, because I was completely devoted. I was training 5 days a week. I was going to other clubs. My instructors would take me to other clubs, and then other students would come and train with me. They would specifically come down. So they would bring other black belts to our club. I would go to other clubs. So the best of the best could train with one another. So we could get really, really good. And it was just brilliant. I loved it. And I made a lot of beautiful, beautiful friends. And me and this girl, this other girl, she was a black belt. And they would bring her down to our club. And she was like really, really good. And we sparred really, really well together. And so we could just get into a rhythm and just go at it for hours on end, just training. So we just loved it, and that was just like amazing. And so it was my heart, it was my passion. But it was like, no, this wasn't for you this time. And so of course to the ego it was very disheartening. But now all of a sudden, now I see where I am. Because I remember my friend once said to me when I was in community and I'd spoken about the martial arts, and she said, "Are you sure you still don't want to do it? Do you feel like you achieved everything?" I said, "Yeah, well, definitely I achieved everything." And in actual fact, I can't, because I've got a full metal arm. My arm is made out of metal there. I had to rebuild my arm through fighting on the streets because my arm got so broke so badly. And so it was always this time of like that was never ever the direction. That was never ever the direction for me. And that was just that time was up. But yet the ego wants to put to me, you're a failure. You were on top of the world and you made a stupid mistake and you lost your undefeated record. And it just brings this lot of shame. But now finally, after God knows how many years, I'm no good at maths. Whatever, 25 years. 25 years later, finally, it was for the greater good. So, okay, that's a beautiful thing. So that's another one ticked off the list of Kenneth Clifford's stupidity. But it was all working together for good. That wasn't my journey. And had I carried on. And of course, I love martial arts and I love fighting. And when the martial arts stopped, I ended up carrying on doing it on the streets for a certain amount of time, which of course, and then that's when that ends up. You end up getting a metal arm, and I say, well, that was another saviour from Jesus, because it was an addiction. It was an addiction for me. As I shared, it was like dancing. Like I know people don't see it in the same way, but to me was like to match up with somebody and to go into that one-on-one with somebody and not know what's going to happen. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that, to have the courage, to have the fear just running through you, and just the presence. You just got to be present. And there's many beautiful things, but it was just in my mind it was a dance, and it became an addiction. And then all of a sudden, the old metal arm comes in, and now I can't do what I was doing before. And I feel like that was another blessing in disguise in some respects, because it was like, no, this isn't your journey. And I was like pushing on the script that I've got these skills, I've got these martial arts skills and different bits and pieces, and I want to try my skills in whatever setting that I possibly can, even if it is seemingly against the law. And it was like Jesus was like, no, this isn't the best for you. And so, okay, my arm breaks, and then I can't do anything. I was actually training in Kung Fu as well. I trained in Kung Fu, and I got really, really good at that as well. But through punching on the bags and everything, I just couldn't do it, because it would ache my elbow and ache my shoulder, and it would really hurt. And it was just like I just couldn't carry on, because the recovery of my arm after just one training session, I could only train once a week because my arm would just really, really kill me, and it might even seize up. And so it was like I had to stop doing what I was doing. And now I see it as a complete and utter blessing. Again, you'd think, oh my God, breaking your arm, that's a terrible thing. It was a spiral fracture. It's the worst break you can have. And but I see it as like, oh my God, it was just you calling me. It was like, this isn't for you. There is a much bigger plan. And we just don't realise that, do we? We don't realise that we're the one, that we are everything, and we're just playing these silly little things out, like what I was playing out. And I had to play it out. Not everybody has to play these things out, but that was a seeming part of my script that had to be played out. And now here I am, living. We pretty much live here in silence and in this peace and in this joy. And now I've been blessed with A Course in Miracles, and it's like, this is what I want for your life. This is what I want for you. I want you to experience this love of what you've been really, really searching for. This is the real love that you are. And so, yeah, it's really wonderful, you know, that I'm kind of grateful to be able to share this with you, because it doesn't matter how long these seeming thoughts have been going around in your head. You know, 25 years I've held on to this thought in my own mind, and it's something actually that I've never wanted to talk about. Like I would always share. The story was, yes, this was the story of Kenneth Clifford. Yeah, I was a black belt in judo. I got my instructor's grade and I won 3 gold medals. The rest of the story obviously was kept out of the way. We kept hidden because of my shame. And it was like, you know, now's the time to unravel all that, and here we are sharing that to the world. But it's a beautiful thing, this forgiveness, to really let go of these things. And so really that's what we're doing every single day, and every day is this awakening, that it's so beautiful, it's so wonderful that we get up and we get to join in this way. We get to experience this love. Like, bring to me as much love as you can today. Show me the beauty of everything. Show me the joy. Show me the happiness. Show me the peace. Just, that is all that I want. This is my life. You are my life. You are my everything. And nothing is going to get in the way of my awakening, of my mind joining with the ultimate infinite reality. There is nothing that can stop that other than my thoughts about why the hell did you run in? You know, that's one of those thoughts, isn't it? Why the hell did you run in on that judo match? It's in the past. Forget about it. Who cares? Okay, it has to be healed. But we can do that in this instant. We can do that in the moment. We can completely and utterly let go of these things. That there has to be no delay. There is no delay. There is no delay in who you are. And so I'm here to confirm to you who you are. You're none of this. You're none of this nonsense. There's no, you know, because it's like you hold on to this thing, like with my story, what I shared, the only bit that I used to share. Judo, black belt, 3 gold medals. It's a fantasy. God alive, I'm not even in shape to throw anyone around. I mean, come on, get with the program, innit? It's like it's over, it's done with, but it's still wanting to confirm this self-identity, and it's like, it was 25 years ago. And it's like, yeah, the light is here and now. Like, forget about these stories, forget about what I was. It means absolutely nothing compared to what you are and what you are now. And so really, this is a complete encouraging talk to everyone. This is just spilling out to everybody. Like, don't be disheartened on this journey. We are completely doing this together. And in every God-given moment, He is there. He is waiting for you. And as He says, He is waiting completely and utterly now for you, and the revelation is here. The revelation is here. When you say yes, the revelation is here. So there's no waiting around for any of this stuff whatsoever. So don't fool yourself into that. So when you wake up in the morning and you still don't feel good, you say to yourself, yes, I may not be feeling good. However, today is the day that I will be awakening. And this is going to be a joyful day. And because that's the beautiful thing, isn't it, really? When you look at this, it's like you can't imagine like all the things that have happened to you already since going on this journey, all the openings, all the beautiful joinings, all the people that have been sent to you, all the wonderful things that have happened. It's like, wow, I couldn't have even imagined any of this, that it's all coming to show you that it is you and that you are everything. And so it's like every little corner is teaching us something very, very special, something very, very beautiful is going to be happening in this God-given instant. And so that's what we want to remember. And that's the beauty. It's like Christmas every single day, because we don't know what the gift is. We don't know what the gift is going to be around this next corner. And it's like, wow, what's going to happen next? What is this gift that's going to come to me that is for my greater good? Everything is always for your greater good. And so if we can have that mindset that it is always for our greater good, we can take it into our heart and just be so thankful. And just be so thankful for everything. That it's only ever here to expand our mind. And so this is what I wanted to bring to you today. To end that disheartenedness. And to bring that strength and that power back into our hearts. You know, as Jesus teaches, don't you worry, you don't have to have the strength. I have the strength to do everything. I can heal any relationship. I can heal anything in your mind. I can heal the whole thing. In fact, it has already been healed. And whatever gaps are in the way, I can shorten those gaps. I can intervene. I can come in to everywhere that you want me to come in and dispel the whole thing. So there's no gaps between anyone or anything. Everything is completely the same, completely one. And that's what's on offer. So the Great Awakening is today. Have no doubt you're going to wake up. Yeah, thank you everyone for joining me. This has been wonderful. So as always, let's expect miracles. Let's stay in the strength, stay in the love, stay in the peace. And today is the Great Awakening. So love to you one and all. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye for now.